Dear viewers, you are welcome to WAPS TV. My name is Godwin Kuada, Programs Manager for WAPS. Today, we are happy to have the founder and the CEO of the West Africa Center for Peace Studies, lawyer Erasmus Ndemole Migyikra. You are welcome, sir, to WAPS TV. We are happy to have you here today.
Thank you for having me on your program today.
Thank you very much. Today, we will be looking at security issues pertaining to Ghana, to the sub-region West Africa, and the whole continent as a whole. Before we tackle today's discussion, let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with our guest. Welcome back, our dear audience, to today's discussion. As I said earlier, we are going to talk about security issues pertaining to Ghana, to West Africa. Yes, Mr. Migyikra, we all know what is happening in Ghana, in West Africa, and on the continent in terms of peace and then the conflict. Today, we are very happy to have you here, and we want us to dissect or discuss how the NGO sector is seeing the peace situation in Ghana vis-a-vis conflict in West Africa as well as the whole continent. So we are listening to you.
Thank you for having me once again on your show and then visiting me in my gardens.
Yes.
My relaxing day.
Exactly.
Just having peaceful relaxation when you came around.
Yes.
Well, my brother, the continent is full of chaos, insecurity, both economic and war. You can see that now, if I could, Sudan as a country is fighting seriously among themselves.
Exactly.
There is Hinge in Somalia.
Yes.
Even Nigeria,
Yes.
Mali, and other ones. There is war, full-blown wars going on in some of those countries. And when you come to Ghana,
Yes.
I could say economic hardship.
Exactly.
It's also, and I think it's not only Ghana, Kenya, and other countries are also facing the same challenges. Having said this,
Yes.
internally in Ghana, I understand Boku have these challenges.
Exactly.
Occasional Alabanyo and Nkonya.
Those are the problems.
There have been the past Kongomes, Nanumbes, Gonjes, Dagombes, and what have you.
And thankfully, some of those ones are going down.
Well, those ones are going down, but we have what we call positive peace and negative peace.
Okay.
If things are boiling and things are calm, it's like water. When you see water stagnant, you think it's not dangerous. Try it. You might get stuck. You might get drowned. That's the same way. That's the same way it looks like in our case. All those conflicts that are calm, like Alabanya and Konya, like Kongoma Nanuba, Gonja, Dagomba, Enclave, they are calm. I think recent past in the Krachi Njumbru district, for instance, in the Oti region, a chief and its people were killed in the farm, for instance. So there are those ones. Apart from that, there's ritual killings that are ongoing in the country. You hear somebody for, I told people maybe a place like Mankesim, we've seen that, Kasua, we've seen that, some Western North cases and other ones. So the issues are so many.
And are they connected? Are these issues connected?
They are not connected. They are independent issues.
Okay.
But what I want you to understand is that they can get connected when people get tired
Exactly.
and there is political crisis. And I've witnessed that in other countries where small conflicts, protracted conflicts
Inflict.
end up blown up. And when they get blown up, what happens? Then, when there is a political conflict, it become big.
Exactly.
So, in the in Ghana, we hope the government and stockholders, the chiefs, the NGOs like you people,
Yes.
uh, West Africa Center for Peace Studies, you could start preaching and quelling those things. That's why advocacy is very important. Also, talking to the state authorities and all these people to make sure that such crises are quenched
Exactly.
before
They blow
they
out of
blow
hand.
out of proportion, as the English would say.
Thank you very much for this insight. When we take the case of Boku in particular, you have mentioned a number of hotspots, but in Ghana, the current situation we are looking at now is the Boku internal conflict. You mentioned the stakeholder, the government. What specifically can we do? Because this conflict has been there
Mm.
for some time now. The government has also come in with the deployment of security forces, but the problem still persists. What do you think other stakeholders can also do to accelerate the resolution of this problem?
When crisis of that nature is ongoing and is not stopped,
Mm.
it can't extend
Escalate, yeah.
and escalate, and it will turn to something else. But what I think can be done is
Mm.
holistic. You don't use one approach, not military solution, because
Yes.
they've tried.
Yes.
It's not working. But what I can say is that yes, the military is very important. They should be there.
Okay.
But the whole society should be sensitized. Apart from sensitization of the society, external actors have to be also extend their influence by doing mediation, arbitration, and what have you, among the warring faction in the area. Why do I say that? If government has sent a whole forces to that place for years and then no results,
Mm.
and if they go in, we the human rights people like you and me will start condemning them because they will go with excessive force. So, but now they are trying to rather stay. And I was told some migration officers were killed over there, some were wounded, and all these things. So you can see that the issue is beyond what you and me think. But I think dialogue is needed in this sense, and to get those people to stop fighting. So we have to tackle that issue in all fronts, and that's what I think.
Very much for that deep analysis of the Baku conflict. Now, when we know that from the analysis at WAS, for instance, we know that when you have a conflict of this nature, a lot of people are affected, especially the youth, women, and children. Apart from that, what negative consequences are associated with conflict like this?
So many consequences. Uh, yes, it affects youth, it affects the aged, it affects children, it affects everybody. So now it's generally everybody. So we should make sure that we will do what? You people in WAPS and other NGOs, you don't stand alone. You don't stand alone, but try to do coalitions. Because they said divided
Before
fall, united we
we
stand.
stand.
So if divided we fall and united we stand, you can't do it alone. Government cannot do it alone. Nobody can do it alone. So the consequences that you've asked is development.
Okay.
Nobody would like to go there and then invest his money into a war torn area. We get human resource killed as a result of the war. What are some of the consequences again? You can see that Boko will have negative connotation. Whenever you mention Boko, everybody is relating it to war, but not the positive things over there. I understand the multi or cosmopolitan area of various tribes.
Exactly.
Today, people are trying to move away from tribalism.
Yes.
Nepotism and favoritism. People are trying to move away from that.
Yes.
I know Kenya, for instance, if you read there today and you ask a Kenyan, where do you come from in Kenya? You say, I'm a Kenyan.
And then Rwanda too has the same concept now.
Rwanda also have, if you ask a Rwandese, where do you come? You are Tutsi or Hutu? They will tell you, I'm a Rwandese.
Very important.
So these are the things that the people living in those areas should embrace each other and forget and think that if they unite, they will develop than retrogression of their society. And the consequences are plenty that I cannot even think of now. But there are so many issues that goes with conflict. And people, other negative thing is that some few can benefit out of the war.
There are people who benefit from the war.
Oh yes, what we call the war economy. War economy, people benefit from war. They will sell their hardwares, they will sell other things just to gain, and others are losing their lives. You see, some people can also be, it could be their own political interest. Others could be their, and when I say political, not the only the it could be traditional politics. It could be traditional politics as well. If you take that one to out, you see that there are also youth who can influence the situation for their own gain. Everybody. So there are so many negative connotations when it comes to those things.
Thank you very much. One thing I learned, there's something we call internally displaced people. Does a conflict like this produce internally displaced people, and what effect does it have on the area?
That's an interesting question. You know, a refugee is when you run to, when there is war and you run to another country. You become a refugee.
Exactly.
But where there is conflict and you stay internally, and you've moved from your dwelling place to a place of safety, and then you become in an internal displaced person because it's internal. And then usually internal displaced persons, they are governed by the laws and the norms of the country or the area. Whilst when we talk about refugees, we mean you are protected under the 1951
UN
convention, which protect what do you call it, refugees.
Exactly.
So that is the one. So to answer your question, yes, so long as guns are crying, people are running from one place to other. People are losing their lives. So people want to get comfort, so they will move to a place. But by then, they left their properties, their homes, their farms, their livelihoods, everything, and ran there. They become now a burden because they have to eat and survive. It shouldn't be from frying pan to fire. So like I'm running from gun and I'm going to be die. I will go and die as a result of hunger and all these things. So Boku and other hotspots across Africa, Boku and other hotspots across Africa, to be honest with you, they are same. They are same. So they should stop to produce internal displaced person. And I'm very sure people have run to Tamale, Bolga,
Other
Nabrongo,
neighboring,
and
yes.
other neighboring towns to save their lives. Nobody wants to hear the word of gun. So that's yeah.
Thank you. Now, when we look at Ghana, next year will be an election year. Is there any correlation or relationship between what is happening in Boku now and the next year's election? You have given a lot of background ideas and consequences to the conflicts in Boku and other parts of Africa. Now, normally we have situations where elections that are supposed to be political, to be completely different, are connected, or people try to marry all these conflicts and the political activities. Should we be concerned as Ghanaians and as West Africans that we have situations like what is prevailing in Baku currently, or we should be relaxed because they are not connected?
There is nothing like realization in life. Um, this conflict we're talking about,
Yes, sir.
there's nothing like realization. Um, as in one of my discussion, I said conflict can escalate,
Exactly.
and then small conflict or protracted conflict could emerge. I've seen it in other corner where they have intertribal conflict, they've had interclan conflict, and political one came in, and then the whole country became chaos. So what I can say is that we don't say we should relax, and we don't say they are independent on their own. Yes, now it seems to be an independent on its own, each of the conflicts.
Yes.
But one small thing can bring all hotspots together and it extends to the whole country. So what I will plead is that we should try as much as we can to quell it, to quench it now.
That's the word.
When we
Now.
quench it now, then there is no cause for alarm. Then you can relax. But if it's not quenched, even let me give you a traditional analogy or a verb, a proverb that says that the eyes will never be crying and the nose will not ooze. Whenever you see tearing from your eyes, you see the nose also oozing.
That's true.
Whenever the eye is tearing, the nose will ooze. So when Boku or Alavanyo or Nanumba Konkumba enclaves are in a hotspot, that doesn't mean that the whole country is not crying. Remember, we are talking in all this, we are talking about development.
Exactly.
Food, yam, cassava, maize, and other cereal crops come from that place down to the south.
That's our food basket area.
That's the food basket area. So if we fail to stop them and they extend, the foodstuff will not get to Accra
And other
or
parts of the country.
beyond. Because today we import yam,
That's unfortunate.
cassava, sorghum, and other things to other part of the world. So where those things are well grown, if there is tension, and I know some part there's even honey, there's other things that can be supported, the shea butter
Yes.
and
Cashew
others,
nuts
cashew
and
nut and all these things. So if there is water in those areas, all those things end up completely. So my advice is that we should act now and
with
no
urgency.
with agency with a realization. Thank you.
Lawyer Migyikra, thank you so much for this explanation. We have really enjoyed the discussion with you today, and we are bringing today's discussion to an end. But before we let you go, we want you to give us your concluding remarks, especially as we are getting closer to the 2024 elections. To some people, it's far away, but it's very close. The next year is very close because as we enter next year, political activities will take over, and people might not even be listening to what NGOs or people who are involved in the peace promotion campaign will be saying. So I think it is good to start giving the advice now. So before you leave us, kindly give us your closing remarks and advise the politicians, the stakeholders about what to do to sustain the peace.
Thank you, Mr. Kuadan. Mr. Kuadan, a wise well, a wise is always say it's enough.
Yes, sir.
But in this case, a word will not be enough. Uh, my advice to our politicians, chiefs,
Yes,
stockholders,
yes.
and all people in the peace architect is that we should not politicize all issues.
That's very important.
We should not politicize those conflicts. We should make sure that um, the government work hard.
Yes,
The chiefs work hard.
exactly.
And not only the chiefs of that area, but chiefdom is now an institution in Ghana.
Yes,
And if chiefdom is an institution, it's not it shouldn't lie on one individual chief
area.
or traditional rulers, but it should be things like that should be holistic. It should be country crying, not area, a town or distance, but it should be all of us doing that to make sure that we'll be able to stop them before it's being politicized.
Viewers, I'm sure you have enjoyed today's session. We have discussed the peace architecture. We have seen a lot of things that come with conflicts. Our guest, who is a lawyer and the founder of a West Africa Center for Peace Studies, has brought our mind to the consequences of conflict and the benefits of peace. Thank you very much. See you next time.
All too soon, we are bringing our discussions to a close. But before we go, as you are not involved, our conversation is getting so interesting. But I want us to take a quick break.